New life a lot or a little or not even in general?
In general. If it comes up,
Gotcha.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. We are, give me 1 second, Joe. Let me just confirm we're live. I think we're streaming on Facebook. I
I
was like,
see live on Facebook.
we're live. Okay, good. All right. Well, then I guess we can begin. So, welcome everybody. Thanks for tuning in, either live on this broadcast. You may be watching this on YouTube, on Facebook, um, or you may be catching the replay. But what I've started doing here on my page, The Virtual Entrepreneur, is lining up a guest every week that can bring value to your life, to bring value to your life as an American entrepreneur, specifically doing things virtually, right? So having the ability and the freedom to be able to run a business or different businesses that you have, side hustles, call it whatever you want, from the comfort of your home. I always used to say a home-based business, but anymore, these days it's really turned into a phone-based business. So different options with that, of course, whether you're talking about real estate, different aspects of consulting, of course, networking. So we have different options, but really excited about our guest today. We have Joe Occhiogrosso, also known as Joe O. Joe is a good friend of mine, good friend of the family, business partner. We've done many things together over the years, and interesting how we met. Maybe I'll let Joe get into that, but welcome, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you.
How you doing today? Got the flag in the background?
Yeah, that's Chris Cavadon's Flag for Hope. Yeah.
There it is.
So I knew Brian from probably about 15, 16 years, basically as long as your cousin and my college roommate has been married. We
Right.
met at a getaway wedding in the Dominican Republic. My roommate from college said, I'm getting married finally. I guess at like 40 years old,
Yeah.
and it's going to be in the Dominican. Can you go? And I'm like, of course I'd love to go. But I had little kids at the time, 3 of them. So my wife was like, just you go.
Yeah.
And so I hung out with Brian and his brother and a couple of my old college buddies. We had a great time. And we always kept in touch, cell phones were just about coming out, right? So we kind of, had each other's phone number and email, and small email back then. And he's not too far from me. He was South Jersey, Philly area. I was North Jersey. And then I got involved in, title insurance. So we met each other a little bit of that in real estate. And but we really hooked up recently, about 2.5, 3 years ago, doing some real estate, doing some network marketing together. And he's great. I mean, Brian is just, an overachiever. He's got 5 kids, those of you that know him. And I'm always looking to help people that are looking to help themselves, and especially trying to help people that are trying to help others. And whether it's showing people how to buy real estate with no money down, which for years I heard that story of no money down, it sounds like a scam, but it can be done, right? If you find the right, the right property, right, with the right story, I will give you money. Like if you found it and you can prove to me that you can fix it and make a profit, for yourself, and I get interest rate, or at least I'm in, right? So it's all about finding the deal. So that's kind of made sense to me. No money down. It always sounded like a scam on the radio back in the 80s and 90s, but it's a real thing.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about, well, I'll give you a little background on me.
I was going to say, for those who maybe who don't know you, Joe, tell us. I mean, you have a very interesting background with Wall Street and all the things you've done. Tell us a little bit about that. What led up to today?
So I grew up in Staten Island, New York. My dad was a New York City police detective. My mom was a legal secretary. She worked at a law firm a couple of days a week, so that, we would, she'd kind of be home for us for dinner, and she started working, I guess, when I was about 10 or 11 years old. And, she worked till 5 o'clock, and so we'd come home, make ourselves a snack. And so always trying to make ends meet. We never went on fancy vacations. You don't get paid a lot of money as a policeman in New York City. You get good benefits and all that, but obviously in this day and age, it's a dangerous job at times. A lot of times it's a thankless job. So we grew up very, very blue collar. We'd go on a vacation once or twice a year, but we would drive. I wasn't on an airplane, until it was like, later, like 20 years old. And so it just, hard work. And my dad always wanted me to make sure I went to college, because he didn't go to college. He ended up finishing eventually as a police officer at night. Go to college, get a good job. Go to college, get a good job. And in Staten Island, we were close enough to Wall Street where the commute was, doable. So a lot of people on Staten Island, they seemed like either you're a cop, a fireman, some kind of civil service worker, or Wall Street, right? And not everyone was a Wall Street big shot. There was a lot of Wall Street secretaries. There was a lot of guys who got coffee, runners. They would run the, just low level clerk Wall Street. But of course, if you went to college, hopefully you can get more of a management job. So that was my goal. I went to Rutgers University. Again, I was supposed to go to college, but I wasn't going to live away. Because they didn't want to pay for that. I had a partial baseball scholarship, but it didn't include room and board. And where I lived in Staten Island, it was only about 30 minutes away. So I commuted my first 2 years, which was a bitch, I tell you, because especially playing Division I baseball. I was young, on the young side. I was just like 17. I just learned how to drive. I'm getting lost. It's at baseball practice, come home, homework. It was horrible. But I stuck it out. And then eventually by junior year, I became an RA. I figured out a way to live at college for free. I found out if you become like, a residence counselor or whatever advisor, it's free. So I interviewed for that. Somehow I got it. They're like the first question, there was an all day, like, you've never even lived on campus. What makes you think you could be in charge of a building? And I was like, well, and I started talking. And actually my roommate, my junior year, my first year was JT, Dr. JT, who was, learned a lot from him too. Here was a guy who, the reason why we were friends is because we like to have a good time together, but all along, having a good time, going to keg parties and all that, he was getting straight A's in biochem and he ended up becoming a doctor, right? I was like, wow, so you can do it all. So you learn a lot. So I did the Wall Street thing for about 10 years, did really well, got lucky in a sense. I was on the right company at the right time, worked for some of the bigger banks in the world.
What was your specialty on Wall Street, Joe? Wasn't it foreign exchange? Forex?
Yes. It was currency trading.
Currency.
So it was Deutschmarks and yen. I didn't even know what the hell it was. To me, trading was stocks and bonds, and I interviewed a lot of different interviews. Most of the interviews were back office, work your way up, go get your MBA at night. Maybe when you're 30, you can get on the desk. I found a fast track somehow. People were leaving like every 2 months, getting a better job. And it was like, pick up that phone and get, and next thing you know, I'm like 23, 24, and I'm doing major $100 million trades. It was crazy. So then in the late 90s, and that's how I met Frank Marone. Frank Marone was also in that world. He was there about 5 years before me. But technology came out and was squeezing our margins. The necessary, we weren't as necessary as we once were. So there's probably only about 500 of us in New York, and it got down to like, pay cut after pay cut. So I left to become an entrepreneur, and not even, Brian, I didn't even do it because I'm like, I want to be my own boss or I want to make my own hours. I just saw an opportunity of like a payroll and benefits niche at the time. Small businesses were having trouble with payroll and human resources, laws and stuff. So I teamed up with a couple of different guys and we did some kind of like turnkey. We do your payroll, we'll give you an HR booklet, we'll make sure the employees, have health insurance, all that legalese that even to this day can get small companies in trouble. The workers' compensation claims, the sexual harassment claims, the postage you have to have up in the office. We did all that. So it worked out really well, worked my tail off, borrowed against my house. I drove a Toyota Corolla of $99 a month, with the baby. I mean, that's how, like, I didn't get a paycheck it was supposed to be about 6 months, ended up being almost a year and a half before I actually took some money out of the company, because we had to keep putting money into the company because, it was the smart thing to do. So, so I went from doing huge expense account, 2 great vacations every year to like nothing. And it's funny in retrospect, as an entrepreneur there, I mean, it didn't really, I didn't have a lot of sleepless nights. My wife, thank God, is, she was cool. She believed in me. She was on board. She's not like, where's the money? Where's the money? Like, it was, as long as the things kept looking positive, I kept pushing forward. And I worked hard, man. I worked, people throw out numbers, 60, 70 hours a week. I mean, I literally worked 60, 70 hours a week. I mean, 12 hours a day. If I got home on a Saturday at 2:30 in the afternoon, to play with the kids, it was a win. This is because we didn't have the technology, right? I had to literally go to the office to check my email and use the printer to print proposals, because I didn't have a decent printer at home, and we didn't have remote work back in this is like late 90s. was just
Yeah.
coming around. Anyway, sold that. Took a couple months off, got involved in title insurance. Title insurance was in 2003 was hot. That's the whole market was hot. In fact, the way I learned about title insurance was I was doing the payroll for some title insurance companies. And I just happened to look at a couple of guys' checks. I'm like, these guys are making a ton of money, right? And I know, I think these guys are not impressive. And this guy's making like hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm like, what the heck is title insurance? You know, I mean, I've had it, I bought it a couple of times, bought a house, refi. I didn't really understand it. And so I said, let's, you know, and at that time, Frank Marone was still on Wall Street, but it was getting worse and worse. And I said, Frank, just let's start a title company with Bart Oates, who's former football player for the Giants, Super Bowl champion, 3 Super Bowl rings. He was my friend. He was a lawyer also, another hardworking blue collar type of guy. So we formed All Pro Title. And again, it was just crash course. We had to get licensed, and we were just going to hire like an attorney. We were going to hire, you know, a couple other closers, like, you know, how much they getting paid, how much you're getting paid. We'll give you an extra 10 grand a year. Come join us. And then me and Frank would just go out there and knock on doors and bring people coffee and donuts. And, you know, and Bart Oates wasn't in really full time. He had other things going on. But if you wanted to have lunch with a lawyer slash 3-time Super Bowl champion, you know, we could arrange it.
Right.
And it really worked out great because, you know, a lot of these law firms, these big old stodgy law firms, you know, where the managing partner is like 60 years old, and, you know, he's never going to meet with me, even though I'm a nice guy and all that. Or he's got a relationship for 25 years with somebody, but he's also a lifetime Giants fan, and he would love to have lunch with Bart Oates, right? So
Right.
that worked pretty well. And All Pro Title, the slogan I came up with, let our team work for you. And teamwork was like one word. So, and we had the Giants colors. We'd go down to Atlantic City. We'd have a booth. Bart Oates would be signing autographs. He had the Super Bowl ring. You could put it on. We rented out Giant Stadium about 7 years in a row through Bart for like nothing, like $500, you know. So it worked out great. And then, of course, 2008 happened, and 2009, everything starts come crunching down. So I had to reinvent myself again. So again, 2008, 2009 is similar to what's going on right now. And that's what I want to get to. You know, opportunities could come out of those bad times, 2008, 2009. I mean, and you know, Brian, you and I hear it all the time. Hey, well, how's it going? Oh, well, you know, 2008 killed me, or 2009 killed me. I had a couple of fix and flips, and you know, I got cut. You know, I bought property in Florida, or I was in the mortgage business. I had 50 employees, and then I had no employees, and they weren't prepared, you know, and they were sulking. And I mean, to this day, you hear about 2008, 2009, 2010, the Great Recession, whatever, you know, and people bitching about it and using it as an excuse. Now, I'm not saying it's not a legitimate excuse, but some people, what bothers me is that people in their head think it's okay that it's a legitimate excuse, you know. And then think about, like, you know, for your kids or whatever, like, what would you do like if your kids were in a burning building? It doesn't matter, you go in there and you do what you got to do. And it could be an excuse, well, the building, I just couldn't get in there, it was burning too much, you know. But you figure something out. And that's the same thing now in 2020. So in 2008, 2009, my business came to a screeching halt. We're borrowing against our credit lines to make payroll. We have like 10 people on staff doing nothing, but we think it's going to be over like next month. You know, next month ended up being like 36 months of like hardly anything. So eventually we just pissed away a lot of payroll. We kept people on staff way longer than we should have. You know, we just trying to do the right thing. And then I got involved in network marketing, which was something I would never consider. You know, one of those pyramid scams, all that stuff, right? I always thought, not that I thought it was like a negative thing, I really didn't. Because all over the years, we've all, like, you know, my wife's gone to Pampered Chef parties and stuff like that, you know, jewelry, and I get it, you know, it's a part-time thing. But to me, I figured, you know, you always, you know, you want to make a couple $100 a month or something, that's great, and I'll support it. You know, if my wife was going to a jewelry party, I'd say, you know, make sure you buy something, you know, for, you know, for our daughter or whatever, you know, be nice about it if people were trying. But I never think you can make real money. You know, I was used to making serious money, whether it's on Wall Street or my title company, and my payroll company. So I need to make 6 figures, you know, plus, or at least the opportunity. So then in 2008, 2009, we were all ears and we got involved in network marketing. And me and Frank figured out that, we could do this. I mean, it's not as hard as it seems. If you could make, so when I say, if you're in network marketing, for some of you people that are listening that are network marketers, because I know not everyone is today, you're looking for people who tend to make things work. You're looking for people that are successful at certain things, as opposed to, you know what, it's not for me. I'm really busy with whatever. I'm having a good year. You should talk to my brother-in-law. He's unemployed again, or he got fired again. Like, no, we don't want a guy who, doesn't show up for work on time. He's definitely not going to be good at this. And it's funny, going back to real estate, because I know we got a lot of real estate people watching. I like to use the analogy when it comes to network marketing with like a real estate agent. Okay, real estate agents. There's a statistic I always like to use in New Jersey. Don't count, don't stick me to the exact numbers, but this was true like 2-3 years ago. Something like 91% of all the people in New Jersey who get their real estate license never sell one house. Right now, that sounds like a scam to me, right? You could spend up to $2,000 getting your license. And how about this? 70 hours. 70 hours of classroom, right? So you got to spend like what, $500, $1,200 for a classroom. You have to put the hours in. Then you got to take a test. Then you got to go hang your shingle somewhere. And now what? Now you got to go sell a house. So if somebody's, wife or downsized husband or whatever decides, I'm going to become a real estate agent, right? Okay, fine. The statistics are 91% of the people will never sell one house, but they still do it. And when you've read in social circles, oh, that's great. That's great. Congratulations. That's a real job, right? Or selling HGH gel or electricity or cleaning products through network marketing. Oh, that's a scam. But real estate, that's a real job. Because truthfully, we all know people who make money selling real estate, right? You and I know hundreds of people that make a living selling real estate. We know a little less than hundreds of people that make millions selling real estate, right? And of course, I like to say, and you can also grow up to become president in real estate, right? But that's, again, but it's the same numbers, whether it's network marketing, whether it's real estate, whether it's selling mortgages, whether it's any kind of job or sales connected marketing business, it's going to be a top 5 or 10% that succeed. So what I tell people in network marketing, you're looking for overachievers, you're looking for winners. And in 2020, this year, right? It's funny, I saw a meme, like a Back to the Future meme when this whole pandemic started in March. And it was like, like whatever you do, don't go to year 2020, and it's true. I mean, I just don't want people to say 2020, that was the reason why I'm bankrupt, or 2020, that's the reason why my kids, had to take 2 years off of college, or 2020, that's the year, because you could dig deep, and this could be a blessing in disguise, right? And it was a blessing in disguise for me, because in 2009, I finally looked at network marketing. And I've done extremely well. I made more money in network marketing in the first 5 years than I made my entire life combined, right? And the lifestyle, and like working from, and again, when I got involved, I know it sounds like, I'm an old man, 11 years ago, we still didn't have the technology we had today. We didn't have the Zoom, right? We didn't have FaceTime, right? Facebook was just coming around, and texting no one was texting yet, right? And you think about it, we used to have meetings at hotels. We go to a hotel or we go to a VFW to have a meeting in person, and hoping that the Wi-Fi worked. And the Wi-Fi was always like, we want to show video and it's spinning and spinning and spinning. Now everyone's showing videos on their phone. So the argument for a home-based business now, or a phone-based business, as you said, is better than ever. So if a company comes out with a product like the one we're working with now, HGH Gel, right? HGH available without a prescription. It's been around since 2001. It's going national. This is the story I heard 2 years ago. And why would they, if I was a partner in this, if I was one of the founders, which I'm not, say, we could come up, we got to raise $20 million and get on TV at 2 o'clock in the morning and get some, some star, Cindy Crawford or somebody to say, oh, this is great, right? Or some doctor, this is great, right? I'm not going to stop everything and buy it. I mean, it's just, that's why, so social networking and relationships, and when I reached out to you about this, right, you're like, I'll listen, I'll at least listen, and look what happened. I mean, you've done very, very well with this. But then again, I knew you'd do well with this because you do well with everything you really focus on. So one of the things I tell people is, you're looking for people that tend to make things work when they really put their mind to it. And everybody who's listening to this right now or watching this, there's always been something you've done very well. Whatever, I don't care if you have to go back to the 7th grade, and it was some science project that you were up all night and you've somehow put it together and got an A, or whether it's asking out that pretty girl to the prom, or whatever it is, something you really got obsessed about, obsessed in a good way, right? Obsessed about, whether it was a 5K. Remember that time, you really wanted to run that 5K, and you might have been 21 years old, it could have been years ago, but you got it done and nothing was going to stop you. You didn't party for 2 weekends in a row because you were training. You can always summon up something if you can get obsessed with something in a good way, again, not in a negative way. And that's what I want you guys to do today in 2020, not because with this downtime, right? So it's almost over now, right? March, April, May, we're like this, right? We're coming out of it now. It's almost like, you had your 90 days to do something with yourself. And I kept pushing myself too, because I'm human. I down days. I'm laying in bed till like 8:30 in the morning. And I said, I'm just gonna put the TV on. I'd stayed another hour in bed till 9:30 in the morning. That's not like me. But it was like I was in a
Curb Your Enthusiasm, right?
yeah, exactly. Or worse, the news, right?
Right.
It's just the funk. Like I got nothing to do today. Thank God I had money coming in because of my, multiple streams of income. Still get paid for my first network marketing venture. I still get paid handsomely for this network marketing venture. I don't have any debt, right? So I was okay.
Do you still have your title company, Joe?
I still have my title company. Yep. I'm not actively involved. I don't really take any money out of that anymore. I let them run it. If I want to pull 10 grand out or run a few expenses through it. And again, if I needed to, I could, get another refreshed business card and start knocking on doors again, or call up old relationships. But once you handle yourself well and people respect you, you can get those things done. But if you're not there yet, right? Let's say, oh, I'm not Joe, or I'm not Brian, or, that's what my point is. You have to always constantly work on yourself. So if you had the time now, and I'm trying, like I say, learn a 3rd language, or pick up books you never picked up before. I get it. Everyone said, oh, here's my chance to finally watch Breaking Bad, or here's my chance to, Zoom out, because we had all this time on our hands. But you got to push yourself. So I did. I took a nutrition class. I signed up at Cornell, right? It was like $1,200, and it's 6 weeks, and it's like 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, and I got to do my 10 hours. I got to watch these videos. I got to take these quizzes. I have to do an essay every time. And I'm like, I don't plan on being a nutritionist. Most of the people that are doing it are nutritionists, or dietitians, or doctors, or nurses, and they want to add to their resume that they got this electronic Cornell certificate. I was just interested. I'm like, again, this is something that I know, like the 13th day of the 2 week, I'm like, why did I do this? Right? Like now I gotta effing do this, or I'm gonna lose that money, but I did that on purpose. Right? I did that so that, and it happened, of course. Like it had to be like, it was 3 days ago, a Wednesday, I had till midnight, and I did like 4 hours worth of work, cranked it out. And and the quizzes, you have to get 10 out of 10. And if you get it wrong, try again. Right? But you got to get all 10 again, and they scramble it. So you can't you have to kind of pay attention, and you think I knew everything going in, but so I just, again, my message to you guys is, don't use 2020 as an excuse. It's a great excuse, and it's a legitimate excuse for a lot of people. If you own 2 or 3 restaurants and you're living week to week, I don't know what the answer is. I really don't, but there's a lot of restaurant owners that I've been talking to for the last 10 years that maybe they want to take a look at my business, right? And they've told me, Joe, I'm so busy here. I can't, at 7 a.m. I'm at the market buying fresh herbs. I don't get out of here till midnight. Business is booming. I don't have time. I wish they made the time, because even if they were just making $1,000 a month, um, it would help, and I see them now, and I'm trying to do takeout with them. These are people in my town restaurants that I like and I frequent. And they like me, and they were, politely saying I'm too busy, and I was trying to, and I can't say I told you so, right? But when we chat, they're like, how you doing during this, Joe? And I'm like, pretty good, right? Even though our product is, considered a luxury product, it's not cheap. So sales kind of slowed for people who are buying it, but all the people that didn't have time to look at it are like, I'll look now, right? I got all the time in the world to look, and so do a lot of people. So that our business is kind of like, didn't you think it would go down. So we've had some good, really good weeks and medium weeks, because people are learning the lesson. Don't keep tunnel vision, and think about multiple streams of income. Think about being in a risky business and diversifying your skills. So again, to sum it up, Brian, I think again, I don't want people to say 2 years from now, how's it going? Well, I still haven't recovered from 2020, because that's if that's your belief, then that's going to be your life. Whereas, you know what, 2020 sucked. It sucked for a lot of people, but it forced me to look at something else. It forced me to take a class online. It forced me to get in shape. I had the time finally, to walk an hour. Some people I'm not a big runner. I'm not really built to run. My feet are significantly better, but the doctor told me, don't jog, don't run, walk. Well, walking takes twice as long. I would love to run for 30 minutes and get it over with, but I got to walk for an hour, so, and now I have the time. But so that's it, guys. Really, pull up your pants. There's no excuses. No one gives a shit about you except you, right? And maybe your family and all that, but no one's gonna bail you out. And you got to dig deeper, read the right books, turn off the Netflix, work for charity, gather up food for seniors, whatever it is you got to do to become a better and bigger person when this thing is over. And it's almost like I feel like time's running out, right? If I wish I would have spoke to you guys in the middle of March, when this all was really happening, when the world was in chaos, and April was a real dead month. April was like, news conferences, good news, bad news. Now I feel like we're having stock markets up 1,000 today. I mean, the unemployment's going back to where it was. It's recovering. So time's running out for you to work on yourself. Soon, if you're out of work, you're going to be back working again. But what have you done with this long weekend, if you will, where you could have read the right books, and even now YouTube, man, I paid probably $50,000 to Tony Robbins over the last 20 something years. I would attend seminars, $1,000 here, $1,000 there, somewhere like $5,000 plus airfare. Now, like 80% of his stuff is free. It's on YouTube. You can watch Tony Robbins for days and not pay a dime. I mean, that's YouTube, so that's kind of stuff. You got to write it down. I'm not a very disciplined person. I'm really not with my time, as far as from 10 to 11, I'm going to do this, but I'm learning to get good at that, because, the day can just slip away. Next thing you know, it's dinner time, or next thing you know, it's happy hour. Right. And like, I didn't go for that walk. I had all day to go for the walk. So I'll go for it at 10 a.m., 12 a.m., 2:30 to 3:30. Next thing you know, it's 6 o'clock. And it's time for dinner, and I didn't get my walk in. So we're all human. But again, you got to come out of this 2020 plague. I call it the plague, a better person. You got it. You owe it to yourself, or you owe it to your family.
Well, thanks, Joe. I mean, and at the end of the day, it's like that you're the exact type of person I want to have on here. Not everybody I bring on and have a quick interview with is a 7-figure earner like yourself, but it's different perspectives. And I think, guys, if you're watching this and you still haven't quite figured out, well, I do want to do something else. And yeah, maybe these last 90 days, like Joe said, I didn't take advantage of a side hustle or another income stream. Reach out to me. I'll tell you some of the things I'm doing, and I have 7 streams of income. So I'm doing a lot of different things. Maybe there's one that's a good fit for you. Maybe there's not. Who knows, right? But whether you reach out to me or not, maybe you're watching this on YouTube or somewhere online, you don't even know who I am. The key, and I guess we'll close with this, is you got to find something. You got to find something, because too many people were caught with their pants down about 90 days ago when this whole pandemic happened. And the resolve should be, it's never going to happen again. Right, Joe?
Yep. And if you did find something that you like right now, don't be selfish. I mean, because maybe you can't add some of your friends to your venture now, but they need to see what someone else has.
Right.
So pass this word along that, you gotta, I just watched a webinar, and you know what, we really got to rethink things, or maybe you should rethink something. Keep an open mind. It's not about you all the time. It's not about you. There's people we can help, whether, we team up with them or not. We're here to help people. In most of our ventures, we only make money if we help our partners make money. If our partners don't make money, we don't make money. I'm not charging a fee, $1,000, and I'm going to give a speech. And if I don't care, I made my money, I'm out of here. I only make money if you go out and execute and make money.
That's it. And this way it's a win-win for everybody. So Joe, I know you had a hard stop here. It looks like you were right on time at 12:30. I know you got a call, but thank you for joining us today. And guys, thanks for tuning in. See us again next Friday, and we'll have another guest for you. All right. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, pal.
Thanks, Joe. See you guys.